Hello, everyone, and thank you to the Canadian Institute for Cybersecurity for the invitation to join you all today and to share some thoughts on building Canada's cyber competence and competitiveness through standards. Consider this: new and emerging technologies, 5G, the Internet of Things, quantum sensing, to name a few, are unleashing exciting opportunities. But they also introduce a myriad of risks to preserving public trust in the wake of growing privacy concerns over the potential misuse of personal data. The drumbeat of cybersecurity breaches and ransomware attacks goes on. As the ubiquitous nature of connected sensors and endpoints increases, questions surrounding security, data collection, privacy, use, and trust are becoming central to conversations regarding the future of Canada's digital economy. Consider how small and medium enterprises are often vulnerable to cyber attacks and lack the resources, technical expertise, and knowledge to implement cybersecurity regimes. Consider the speed that digital transformation is happening worldwide. Organizations of all sizes have been affected by the sudden surge of new technologies and the need to deploy measures to secure their digital infrastructure while attending to a multitude of cyber threats that have created a rising demand for cybersecurity professionals. Consider the cyber skills and talent shortages public and private sector organizations are facing in Canada to catch up to the pace at which emerging technologies and evolving cyber threats are growing. Cyber criminals are getting more creative and sophisticated. The talent gap and outdated skills in cybersecurity could put organizations at risk of cyber attacks that can lead to serious damages and consequences. Finally, consider AI technologies. The same technologies that bring you facial recognition and the capabilities to verify one's identity using machine learning. There are significant governance questions around face biometric data and its use or potential cyber misuse that must be thoughtfully addressed upfront to ensure technologies developed and deployed are socially acceptable. It is essential to set standards that can drive behaviors and build digital trust within which expertise can thrive. As the guardrails of the digital economy, standards are vital to creating confidence, for demonstrating compliance with processes a community agrees are important. Broad adoption of standards reduces uncertainty, provides assurance, builds trust, and therefore can encourage entrepreneurship and investment. Consider this: as part of former President Trump's executive order on maintaining American leadership in artificial intelligence in February 2019, the United States is driving the development of technical standards for the safe testing and deployment of AI technologies across industry. The government's executive department and agencies are pursuing 6 strategic objectives in furtherance of both promoting and protecting American advancements in AI. One of which being to ensure that technical standards minimize vulnerability to attacks from malicious actors and reflect federal priorities for innovation, public trust, and public confidence in systems that use AI technologies. And further, to develop international standards to promote and protect those priorities. What is behind the motivations of a former president, the head of state, the head of government to bolster standards? Standards are more than guiding principles. From the smallest screw thread to the most complex utility network, standards prevent harm, ensure reliability, and generally improve our way of life. They are essential to spearheading technology advancement, innovation, and trade. At their core, standards allow us to establish accepted practices, technical requirements, and modernize at times complex policies. Without standards, we would have no benchmarks for success, no product safety security, no common technology unifying global markets, and certainly no opportunity for competition to thrive. Take cellular communication, for example. From 3G to 4G, and now into 5G technology, standards have expanded connectivity, improved security, and enhanced energy savings. Because mobile standards are in place, we can connect as seamlessly to our families from when we're abroad as to when we are at home, and that's no accident. They are a fail-safe that allow Canadian companies to compete at home and abroad. They are vital to both business growth and security, especially in our ever-changing, fast-paced global digital economy that has no signs of slowing. Each standard has an intended purpose, from facilitating business interactions and providing interoperability to demonstrating due diligence or regulatory compliance. Standards can be developed as early as an idea, from performance-based product specifications to management system standards, helping organizations improve quality, security, and reliability. They can begin to codify common nomenclature and definitions in nascent areas and can serve to govern interactions across complex digital ecosystems. But not all standards are equal when considering their development process. Standards can be developed by industry associations, professional societies, standard development organizations, consortiums, companies, and governments. While there are standards in use across all sectors of the Canadian economy, not all standards are developed using a formal, consistent, and reliable standards development process. It is important to understand that one development process may be in fact very different from the next. How standards are developed influences whose interests they will serve. For instance, most companies develop their own internal standards to describe their purchasing requirements, material characteristics, and production practices. The development of company standards from one company to the next is likely different, and the process of development likely not publicly available. The same is sometimes true of industry standards, often developed by industry associations. Typically, these industry association memberships comprise a group of companies serving a specific industry. Some industry associations are accredited by a national standards body and have a higher level of scrutiny applied to their standards development process. Further, national standards can be developed in Canada through standard development organizations accredited by Standards Council of Canada. And as many of you will or could be familiar with, standards are also developed in international forums like the International Organization for Standardization and the International Electrotechnical Commission, ISO and IEC, by technical committees and their associated subcommittees. As policymakers, regulators, trade specialists, technology developers, data experts, you have several policy levers that can influence marketplace behaviors, each having the possibility of intersecting with standards. In addition to incorporating national standards by reference in regulation or in internal SOPs, public and private companies, government entities, and not-for-profit organizations may use standards in different ways to meet their objectives. As examples, the Canadian insurance industry can build underwriting practices that promote the adoption of responsible risk-reducing measures and risk-based pricing, while fostering a competitive, responsible insurance market by having premiums reduced for organizations complying with specific standards. Organizations can provide public recognition through the development of voluntary or mandatory certification programs or seals of approval, to which organizations are assessed by independent third party against specific standards. Governments can provide tax breaks or subsidies for investments made to those complying with standards. Organizations can use weighted criteria for grant applications, i.e. those implementing a specific standard having a higher score to those that do not. Department and agencies can put companies voluntarily complying with a specific standard on a priority list to deliver services to government, and further can make that priority list publicly available to differentiate companies in the marketplace. And as a final example, organizations can identify areas where commercial products and services are available to help companies implement standards. And where gaps exist, organizations can communicate those in research and development opportunities. The CIO Strategy Council is Canada's national forum that brings together the country's technology C-suite to collectively mobilize on common digital priorities. Cutting across major sectors of the Canadian economy, public, private, and not-for-profit, the Council harnesses the collective expertise and action of Canada's CIOs to propel Canada as a digital-first nation. From major banks, insurance companies, telcos, energy companies, audit and assurance firms, and traditional IT providers, to not-for-profits, the federal, provincial, and municipal governments, the CIO Strategy Council is harnessing the collective strength of the CIO community from across the country. With a strategic, coordinated approach, the CIO Strategy Council, together with its members, partners, and experts, are helping to inform the design of disruptive and emerging technologies. The Council is addressing the most highly rated and most pressing digital policy areas to accelerate responsible technology adoption across all sectors. It is taking action to result in a safer, more prosperous ICT ecosystem for Canada, one that is globally competitive and serves the well-being of Canadians. One way we are taking action is through the development of National Standards of Canada as an accredited standard development organization solely focused on technology. While voluntary, these standards are providing signals to the marketplace on the expectations of products, services, and people. Through our agile, open by design, consensus-based approach, the CIO Strategy Council has accelerated the standard-setting process in Canada to match the speed of innovation and advancement in ICT, developing new standards in months, not years, and making them readily available at no cost to organizations and individuals. Comprised of hundreds of thought leaders and experts cutting across various economic sectors from coast to coast to coast, our technical committees are setting critical standards for data governance, AI ethics, digital identity, cybersecurity, and more. With 6 publications and 20 more standards in development, including publications on remote access infrastructure, workplace contact tracing that directly responded to pressures created by the pandemic and the need for rules, the Council is driving ever important work to instill trust in the technologies being deployed. We have published national standards for data-centric security and third-party access to data, recognizing a need to set safeguards to prevent inadvertent data misuse and unauthorized access, something that is becoming an increasingly pervasive issue for governments and businesses alike, and all amplified by the current COVID-19 circumstances. The Council is helping to ensure Canadian organizations have the personnel needed to protect their systems by developing a new national occupational standard for cybersecurity professionals. The standard will define entry-level qualifications for professionals and bring clarity to a field of work where roles are often conflated with those in general IT, cybersecurity or security, business management, and administration. In February 2020, Canada's Minister of Natural Resources announced an $818,000 investment to support the CIO Strategy Council in producing a series of cybersecurity standards for industrial Internet of Things to help predict, prevent, respond to, and recover from cyber threats, and to position Canada as a leader in security standards. In late 2019, the Standards Council of Canada engaged the CIO Strategy Council to develop national standards to underpin the CyberSecure Canada certification program, led by Innovation, Science and Economic Development in collaboration with the Canadian Securities Establishment. This new national standard will address cybersecurity controls with an aim to be low burden, easily accessible, affordable, effective, national in scope, and sector neutral for small and medium-sized organizations adoption. We welcome you to join this work and any other standards activity underway to help shape the governance of our digital economy and to help enable the 4th industrial revolution built on trust. Trust, however, that it also extends beyond direct interactions with companies and governments. Consumers increasingly want to be confident that businesses or governments they deal with are good corporate citizens. The Council's recently unveiled Sustainable IT Pledge is a public signal of its signatories' resolve to drive environmental stewardship and reduce the ecological impact of digital technologies. As the first pledge in Canada to focus on organizations' IT operations, it also demonstrates the Council's collective ability to chart a course for others to emulate. With 42% of people reporting that lack of trust stops them from using digital services, there is also a clear need to identify organizations that are following digital best practices. The Council is developing a digital trust program that will provide recognition for organizations meeting pertinent standards Canada's CIOs trust in privacy, data governance, digital identity, and cybersecurity, areas that are top of mind for consumers, clients, citizens, and partners. The goal is to create a trusted digital ecosystem of vendors, customers, and buyers. Having completed the first phase of the program in June 2021, including an initial selection of standards, those developed by the CIO Strategy Council and others, the groundwork for the brand identity, we have now moved to the test phase. We are currently working through the process of recognizing organizations and welcome you to join the testing phase, which will enable us to refine the program design ahead of launching it publicly. Together, we can better identify the blind spots and opportunities that standards create in building digital trust. Together, we can ensure we are moving the innovation dial forward by developing and using standards that protect critical capital like intellectual property ownership and improve freedom to operate policies. And only together can we build an integrated, trusted digital ecosystem. Do get involved today.